Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the series of discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So today we shall be discussing the 14th verse from the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacham Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So the text 14th is tataḥ śvetair hayair yukte mahati syandane sthitau mādhavaḥ pāṇḍavaś caiva divyau śaṅkhau pradadhmatuḥ. On the other side, both Lord Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conchshells. So now, here in this verse, is being described the names of the conchshells being blown by Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhimasena. But there are different names which have been used. So let's try to look into. It says Krishna and Arjuna, they are blowing their divyau śaṅkhau pradadhmatuḥ. Divya means divine. There was no mention of, even when Bhishma was blowing his conchshell, there was no word divya mentioned in that connection. So divya means divine, transcendental. So this indicates that because they are blowing the divine or transcendental conchshells, the victory is bound to be on the side of Pāṇḍavaś. And another word which is significant here is syandane. Syandane means the war chariot. So the chariot on which Arjuna and Krishna were sitting was given to Arjuna specifically by Agnidev. So we know from the history of Mahabharata, once Agni had indigestion. Indigestion means, he was not able to digest any food. It's very funny. Actually, all the food is digested within our body by Agni. There's a particular form of Agni called Vaishvanara. So Agni is something that helps to digest us the food. But one time Agni himself had the indigestion. So Agni is the deity, the presiding personality of the fire. So he had indigestion, and when you have indigestion, you want to eat something which is fiery in nature, according to Ayurveda, which can generate fire in the stomach. So no water or no watery element, but more fiery elements. I remember many years ago, I was very sick, and especially the stomach sickness. Nothing was getting digested. For months I was sick, and none of the doctors could really identify what was wrong. So somehow that I met one Ayurvedic doctor, and he said, you have Mandagni, you have the weak digestion fire in your stomach. So you need to take something that is fiery in nature. For months, doctors were trying to figure out, and they couldn't, give me remedy. But he told me, you simply take some ginger along with a lime, squeezed in the ginger, and little salt mixed with it, and eat that in lunch every day along with the lunch. When I started, within a day or two, all my stomach problems were solved. It was so simple. So similarly, Agni had, Mandagni, he had lack of digestion. So he wanted to eat or devour the whole forest. But the problem was, he was interested in devouring one particular forest known as Khandava. So, whenever he wanted to devour the forest, because that forest was very dear to Indra. And there was a friend of Indra, by the name Mayadana. He was a demon actually, but he was a friend of Indra. So, this Mayadana was living in that forest. So, just to protect Mayadana, whenever Agni wanted to start the fire and devour that forest, Indra would send the rains. And the Agni would, not be able to devour. So, his Mandagni, his lack of digestion continued for a very long time. So although Agni and Indra, they are friends, but Indra was taking the side of Mayadana and not letting Agni to devour the forest. And Agni was suffering. So Agni came to Arjun, because Arjun was a great warrior and great hero of his time. So Agni said, please help me to devour this forest, and I will help you in return. So Arjun said, all right, I will help you. And Agni gave this chariot with white horses to Arjun. Not only he gave that chariot and white horses to Arjun, but he also gave him a quiver. Quiver is, in which you keep the arrows. So inexhaustible quiver with arrows. That means as many arrows Arjun could take out from there, it will always remain full, which is a great asset on the battlefield. So he gave a quiver, a chariot and horses to Arjun, and he gave Sudarshan Chakra to Krishna. Of course, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Sudarshan Chakra is his eternal weapon. But because Krishna was playing the role of a human being, when he comes to this world, he accepted this weapon from Agni Dev as a gift. But you should know that this weapon is actually Krishna's eternal companion. He is the eternal servant of Krishna, Sudarshan. So Agni, because he gifted this Arjun, he covered the entire Khandava forest with his arrows. He made a roof of arrows on the Khandava forest. So though Indra sent the rains, it could not be extinguished. The fire could not be extinguished because there was a roof on the entire forest. And Arjun was guarding the entire forest because Agni wanted to eat the entire forest. That means anyone living in the forest also wanted to be devoured. So any animals or any demons wanted to run out, Arjun would shoot the arrows and put them back in the forest fire. And in this way, when one of the demon, Mayadana, he wanted to run, Arjun would not let him also come out. But then he surrendered to Arjun. Please protect my life. And I will build you structure, a beautiful structure in return. And Arjun said, I don't care for the structure, but since you have taken my shelter, I'll protect you. But Krishna, he insisted, no, you should make a structure. And it was Mayadana who created the beautiful palace for Yudhishthira Maharaj, which was mystical, in which Duryodhana was actually bewildered. And he fell in the water, thinking it is to be land. So that was the history. The chariot was given to Arjun by Agni Dev. Another thing which is actually very crucial and important in this verse is, Prabhupada explains, because Krishna is personally seated on the chariot of Arjun, he is on the side of Pāṇḍavaś. The victory of Pāṇḍavaś is guaranteed. Jayastu Pāṇḍu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Janardana, Krishna, whomever he is taking side of, they are bound to be victorious. So, this is the sum and substance of these words. That Krishna and Arjuna are seated on the chariot, driven by white horses, and they started blowing their divine conch shells. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.